By 5 a.m, Lars arrives at Varna Airport. Security footage shows him entering the airport. Lars became visibly agitated when another man entered into the office. Security cameras captured him sprinting out of the airport and disappearing into a field of sunflowers.
The world is filled with mysteries that remain unsolved. Some are chilling disappearances, others are strange pieces of lost media, and a few are so bizarre that they feel almost unreal. Tonight, we'll look at 4 cases that continue to haunt people to this day. In the summer of 2014, a 28-year-old German man named Lars Mittank traveled to Bulgaria with a group of friends for what was meant to be a simple holiday trip. But what began as a carefree vacation quickly spiraled into one of the most unsettling disappearances in modern history, a mystery that has baffled investigators for nearly a decade. During the trip, Lars got into a fight outside a bar. He suffered a minor ear injury. His eardrum was damaged. A local doctor prescribed antibiotics and advised him not to fly until the ear had healed. His friends prepared to head home, but Lars stayed behind. From this point, Lars's behavior grew increasingly strange. He called his mother, claiming people were trying to rob him, that they wanted to kill him. He seemed paranoid, panicked, and afraid to be alone. In one call, he whispered to her, "Please cancel my credit cards." On the 8th of July, 2014, Lars went to Varna Airport, intending to finally return home. Inside the airport's medical office, something terrified him. Witnesses reported that he suddenly stood up, muttered something about not wanting to die, and ran. Security cameras captured his final moments. Lars sprinted out of the airport, leaving behind his luggage, passport, and phone. He ran across the parking lot, climbed a fence, and disappeared into the nearby woods. To this day, he has never been seen again. Extensive searches turned up nothing. No trace of Lars was ever found. His disappearance fueled countless theories. Some believe the antibiotics he was taking caused a rare psychological reaction triggering paranoia. Others suspect foul play, and some are convinced Lars uncovered something darker, something that forced him to run for his life. The case of Lars Mittank has been called the most famous missing tourist story in the world. And yet, nearly 10 years later, the question remains, what exactly drove him into those woods, and why did he never return? In early 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa checked into one of the most infamous hotels in Los Angeles, the Cecil Hotel, a building long associated with crime, tragedy, and death. For weeks, she stayed there alone. And when she vanished without a trace, the only clue left behind was a security tape that still unsettles millions of people to this day. Elisa had been traveling through California, keeping in touch with her family daily. On the 31st of January, her calls suddenly stopped. Concerned, her parents reported her missing. Police searched the hotel, but Elisa was nowhere to be found. Then, a few days later, investigators released chilling footage from one of the hotel's elevators. The video shows Elisa acting in a way that defies explanation. She presses multiple buttons at once, then hides in the corner of the elevator, as if someone or something were following her. She steps in and out repeatedly, making strange, almost ritual-like gestures with her hands. And then, after one final step outside the elevator, she vanishes from view. The tape ends, and for nearly 3 weeks, no one knew where she had gone. Guests at the Cecil began to complain about strange water pressure, discoloration, and a foul taste coming from the taps. Maintenance workers inspected the rooftop tanks, and inside, they found the decomposing body of Elisa. The discovery horrified the public, but the details only made the case more disturbing. How Elisa managed to access the tanks was never fully explained. The rooftop was locked, the hatches heavy. Many believed it was impossible for her to climb in alone. Authorities eventually ruled her death an accidental drowning, citing Elisa's struggles with bipolar disorder. But others argue that the bizarre elevator footage, the strange behavior, and the long history of death inside the Cecil Hotel all point to something more sinister, paranormal, perhaps, or something darker that was never uncovered. More than a decade later, the elevator video remains one of the most unsettling mysteries of the internet age. To this day, no explanation has ever erased the haunting question: just what was Elisa Lam running from in those final moments? Not all mysteries exist in the real world. Some are born in the darkest corners of the internet. Stories whispered on old message boards, passed around as warnings or dares. One of the most infamous is a legend known simply as the Grifter. The Grifter first appeared on forums in the early 2010s. Supposedly, it was a short video file, grainy, distorted, and deeply disturbing. Those who claimed to have seen it described screaming children, twisted faces, and unsettling imagery that defied explanation. Some said the video contained flashing symbols or audio frequencies designed to make the viewer physically ill. According to the legend, the Grifter wasn't just disturbing, it was cursed. People online wrote that after watching, they experienced intense nightmares, sudden illness, or even complete psychological breakdowns. One claim even suggested viewers took their own lives. But despite the horror stories, no one has ever produced a verified copy of the video. Posts that claimed to link to it would vanish, and users who insisted they had proof often went silent, leaving behind only broken threads and eerie warnings. Was it deleted by moderators, or was there never a video at all? Some argue the Grifter is nothing more than a creepypasta, a piece of internet folklore designed to scare and intrigue. But others believe it may have been real, a piece of disturbing media so dangerous, so cursed, that it was wiped from the internet before it could spread. Whether it ever existed or not, the legend of the Grifter endures. A ghost story of the digital age sometimes. What terrifies us most is the possibility of what might be lurking on the other side of the screen.
Is she the one that speaks English or the other one?
Yes. The other one, she's gonna run it.
Oh no! My council, we need ambulance, senior officers to the scene, we've got 2 possible fatals.
On May 17th, 2008, traffic along England's M6 motorway was disrupted by something so bizarre, so inexplicable, that it would later be described as one of the strangest events ever caught on live television. 2 Swedish sisters, Ursula and Sabina Eriksson, were traveling by bus from Liverpool to London. But their behavior on board was so paranoid, so unsettling, that the driver grew concerned. Convinced the women were acting erratically, he ordered them off the bus at a service station near Kiel. Their movements were strange. They clutched bags tightly, spoke in hushed tones, and refused food or drink. Staff noticed their nervous energy, as if they were running from something. But no one could have predicted what happened next. The sisters suddenly bolted onto the M6 motorway. Ursula was struck by a heavy goods vehicle, shattering both her legs. Sabina was hit head-on by a car, launching her into the air. To the shock of bystanders and police, both women survived. Instead of lying incapacitated, Sabina began screaming, thrashing, and fighting off police officers with inhuman strength. Her rage was chilling, like she was possessed. Witnesses described it as unnatural, even otherworldly. This chaos was being filmed by a BBC crew for a motorway safety documentary, broadcasting their breakdown to millions of horrified viewers. Ursula, severely injured, was rushed to hospital, but Sabina was released from custody just a day later. Despite her violent outburst, doctors claimed she showed no lasting signs of psychosis. Free to go, she wandered into the nearby town of Fenton, seemingly dazed and disoriented. There, she encountered 2 local men, Glenn Hollinshead and Peter Malloy, who noticed her unusual behavior. She appeared nervous, constantly peeking through windows, clutching her belongings, and muttering about being pursued. Glenn, concerned, offered her a place to stay for the night. The next evening, without warning, Sabina produced a kitchen knife and stabbed Glenn Hollinshead 5 times, killing him. She fled the house in a frenzy, but she wasn't empty-handed. Clutching a hammer, she was seen running through the streets, striking herself in the head with it as she fled. A passing motorist, alarmed, tried to wrestle the weapon away. Sabina fought back, striking him before breaking free once again. Minutes later, She reached a bridge and, without hesitation, leapt nearly 40 feet onto the motorway below. And unbelievably, she survived again. In 2010, she was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to just 5 years in prison. She never offered a motive. She never explained what drove her or her sister to such violent, self-destructive behavior. And Ursula, once recovered, disappeared from the public eye. To this day, no one knows what truly happened. Some argue the twins experienced folie à deux, a rare psychiatric disorder where delusions are shared between close individuals. Others suggest drug use, or even a darker force that has never been uncovered. But the image of two women running headlong into motorway traffic, surviving and continuing as if nothing had happened, remains one of the most disturbing mysteries ever captured on film.